Hello everyone, welcome back to Umbral channel for another Raid Shadow Legends video. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you my strategy on how I clear the Pontiff Augustin Event Dungeon that is happening right now during the collaboration with the Assassin's Creed game. So in this event dungeon, what makes this unique is it drops a unique artifact set called Chronophage. And this Chronophage is a variable set, which means each piece that you equip on a champion will provide you with additional resistance, additional speed, and immutable stacks, which is pretty useful, especially for supported heroes who can revive your champions, heal your champions, as well as reset the skill cooldown of your champions. If you'd like to know more details on the Chronophage set, hop over to your champion index here and then minimize all the artifacts sets and then go right below at this section, Chronophage, and click on the information icon here. So you can see individually each piece of set what bonuses that you will gain. So at every like 4 piece, 6 piece, and 9 piece, right, you gain this immutable stack. Basically, it's like a buff without a buff duration. You stay there as long as you do not get the increased skill cooldown, negative effects from champions such as like Lord Entertainer Fabian, Basher, who is an epic champion, and then we got mythical champions such as Night Queen Crixia, and then we have legendary champions such as Yumeko and Warlord. So these are the common champions that you will encounter in Arena and Live Arena. Okay, so if you want to counter those champions, or you have any difficulty with those champions, right, just gear your champions with this immutable stack artifact, which is a Chronophage. At least 4 piece set to gain this benefit. Alright. Okay, as you can see here, this is the Night Queen Crixia that I was mentioning earlier. She has an A3 ability that increases the skill cooldown. So if you want to counter her, use Chronophage. Alright. Okay, let's hop over back to the event dungeon. Let me showcase you 3 difficulty dungeons. I'll start off with stage 25 and then move on to stage 27 and then followed by stage 30. For stage 28 and 30, right, you will encounter Hegemon, which will require you another like team setup. And for stage 27 and below, you will not encounter Hegemon, but more tougher enemies. So let me start with stage 25 and then work our way up to stage 30. Okay, so the boss here, right, what the boss do is basically is more of like a supporter debuffer champion where he can provide increased accuracy to all of his allies and then intercept stack on all allies so that there will not be crowd control, and then also prevent you from getting any what's that called? This debuff will okay, so basically he will inflict this block debuff, which means that your champions will not be able to receive any buff from your supporter champions. Okay, and then he also places a unique debuff called Ensnare. So if you do not know what does Ensnare do, you can hop over to the skill, like any skill that has this more info, and then search for Ensnare here. So let's see together what does Ensnare do. It has a very long description on Ensnare. Let's see. Well, I think it's all the way down there. So as you can see here, any turn-meter increase effect received by a champion with the Ensnare debuff will be reduced by 50 or 100%. Basically, right, once your champion have this Ensnare, right, or this web icon, this spider web icon, right, they will not be able to benefit much from increased turn meter. So yeah, if you want to benefit from increased turn meter, you need to remove this debuff first. That's basically it for the Ensnare debuff, alright? So for stage 25, I'll be showing you with a more free-to-play friendly team, like this one. So this team, right, consists of Deacon Armstrong, Stag Knight, Fahrakin the Fat, Skullcrown, and Umbral Enchantress. Let me walk you through on each of the champions' responsibilities. So for Deacon Armstrong, he's there to provide increased turn meter on all allies so that they can move faster compared to the enemies in case the enemies speed stat is very fast. Okay, and then another thing is he can place decrease defense on the enemies so that your champions can deal even more damage to the enemies there. Okay, and then Stag Knight here is to place the AoE decrease defense like Deacon Armstrong, another layer of it in case if the enemies resisted it. And more importantly, he places decrease attack to reduce the damage dealt by the enemies, so your squishy champions will be able to survive slightly longer. And his A1 has the ability to apply decrease speed, but the boss there is immune to any decreased turn meter and decreased speed, so this one does not really work on him. And then Fahrakin the Fat is there to boost up the critical rate and critical damage of all allies, and then have an ally joint attack accept himself to the boss to deal even more damage. Plus, he can apply 2 stack of poison and HP burn, so we can take down the boss faster. And his A1 can place decreased defense. Then the 4th champion here is my damage nuker. She's there to wipe out the minions. I selected her because her A1 and A2 ability, right, has the ability to deal AoE attack, which means we can clear out the minions faster. And last but not least, we have Umbral Enchantress. Let's say assuming that your champions here, right, are not strong enough to take down the enemies within all of these guys' first turn, then you need a crowd controller. So I chose Umbral Enchantress because her A3 ability has the ability to inflict provoke debuff, which forces the enemies to only use their A1 ability on her. Okay, and if the damage is too strong, she still will be able to survive because she has this unkillable buff on herself. Okay, and then her A2 ability has the ability to place block buff to prevent the boss as well as the enemies from receiving any buff. So this makes her an ideal candidate for this event dungeon. Alright, so that's basically it for this team setup. So Deacon Armstrong will go first with 272 speed, followed by Umbral Enchantress to crowd control the enemies, and then Stag Knight to apply the AoE, decrease defense and decrease attack, followed by Fahrakin the Fat to perform ally joint attack, then finally Skullcrown to clean up the minions. Okay, so let's see this team in action. So I'll put it into 1x speed. Deacon Armstrong decrease defense and boost up the 10 meter, followed by Umbral Enchantress, provoke all the minions except the boss. Stag Knight apply the decrease defense and decrease attack, and then everyone perform the attack here. So the boss is like around about 60% HP now. So we did not manage to clear out all the minions here, but since the enemies here are already provoked, we still have a chance to take down the enemies with these 2 turns. So we're trying to take down the minions here. Now, Umbral Enchantress apply this block buff, so he cannot place more buff on himself. And the allies will not be able to apply any supportive buff to the boss. So left only 1 more minion. Let's take down the minion and then we are safe. So that's basically the strategy, take down the minions as fast as possible, and then only we take down the boss. Because the boss has a lot of HP, which will take a while to take down unless you have like damage nukers that can deal enemy max HP damage. That would be ideal. But yeah, this team also works. You can substitute any champions here with any better champions that you have, such as if you have a better champion than Deacon Armstrong, you can replace it with Arbiter. Everyone can get a free Arbiter as long as you complete the first progress mission. Okay. If you have like Lydia, the Death Siren, you can replace Stag Knight with her. Fahrakin the Fat, you can replace it with any like ally joint attackers. And then you can bring in another damage nuker. Like let's say if your damage is pretty strong, you can bring in 2 damage nuker instead of having a champion who can place crowd control. Or let's say if you don't have Umbral Enchantress, you can replace it with what's it called? As a champion that can stun as well as decrease 10 meter. I think it's Armand. Yeah. you can use the armors to replace Umbral Enchantress. So you have a lot of alternative in swapping out the champions depending on your roster. Okay, so let me rerun this again to show you the full speed on 2x speed here. Oh yeah, do take note if you're using Deacon, right? There's a chance that the enemies here can resist it due to the weak hit. So as you can see, there's 2 champions here with magic affinity. So there's chance where these champions can ignore the decreased defense placed by Stag Knight as well as Deacon Armstrong. Preferably you want to use champions who is a void affinity so that they will not be able to get any weak hits. As you can see, this is the web. The web will prevent your champions from receiving any increased time meter. Okay, that is the lock. The boss A1 ability has the thing that applies its block active skills, which forces them to only use A1 ability and only. You can also steal 10 meter as well. His A2 basically remove all buff, apply ensnare and block debuff. His A3 applies increased accuracy. So with this increased accuracy, right, it's pretty difficult to resist his debuff and negative effects. So I think the main strategy here is you just need to go as fast as possible. Go first, crowd control the enemies, and then just nuke them down. Okay. So that's basically it for stage 25. Let's move on to stage 27. So let's move to stage 27. Basically, stage 27 has the same, I think the same enemy, is it? Let me do a check here. Okay, so the enemy here is a bit different because it's much more difficult now. It has the pairing of White King Narcissus and White Queen Narcissus here. These two is a pretty powerful combo where she can decrease the skill cooldown of King Narcissus as well as removing the buff. And then this guy can provoke your champions, which is pretty dangerous if you let him go first. And then Eric's is pretty dangerous as well, who can apply ally protection to protect his allies and then counter attack. So if you have champions who can remove buff, right, such as like Prince, what's they call? There's one Prince who can remove buff, then it will be also useful. Or you can use Marius here to remove the buff as well. Okay. So let me show you another team for stage 27. So stage 27 here. Okay, this one. So this is the team. Oh, I just remember his name. Prince Kymar. Prince Kymar is the one who can remove the buff. Same goes with Marius. Okay. Alright, so in this team I have Donnie, or also known as Donatello, from the Teenage Mutant Turtles. Then we have Lydia the Death Siren, who is I think available by completing all the normal difficulty of faction wars. And then we have Gnut. Gnut is a fusion champion. Then Marius is another one who you can obtain from progress mission. And then Prince Kymar, you can obtain him from summoning shots. So you can replace these champions depending on your roster if they have the somewhat similar abilities, alright? So the first champion here, Donnie. I bring in Donnie because I want to boost up the turn meter of all our allies and then provide some buff like continuous heal and strengthen. And then he has the ability to provide increased speed and also decrease the cooldown of all allies, which is pretty useful. Lydia, on the other hand, is there to provide the decreased defense and weakness similar to Stag Knight. And then nullification to apply block buff on the boss. Gnut, on the other hand, he is there to deal enemy max HP damage. You can replace with any damage dealer you have. Maybe you have Akrisia, who also can do AoE enemy max HP damage similar to Marius. Or you can replace it with any champion here as your damage dealer. Marius is my second. So Gnut and Marius are my damage dealers here for the boss, and Marius is for the dealing damage on the boss and minions. Gnut, on the other hand, is mainly for the boss. Okay, and then Prince Kymar is there to apply poison on the boss, which pairs really well with Lydia, Lydia applying this poison sensitivity with her nullification. Then Prince Kymar can also reset the skill cooldown of all the allies. And last but not least, he can also remove all the buff from the boss and also the minions. Okay, so let's see this team in action. So I'll put on this on 1 time speed. So Prince Kymar is the fastest. He goes applies the poison, followed by Donatello to boost all the turn meter of our champions here. That would be Lydia to apply the decrease defense and weaken. Then Marius deal massive amount of damage. Then followed by Gnut to do enemy max HP damage on the boss. Now the boss applies intercept and increase accuracy, so we now could not control the enemy here. So we have reset the skill cooldown with Prince Kymar again, so they can use their ultimate right away again. So we just wipe out Eric's here, so he cannot counter attack our champions. And then Gnut on the other hand will use his A3 ability again. And that's the other second decrease cooldown again. So we are pretty fast with our skills. We will be able to keep on spamming our A3 abilities. Then another Galloping Thunder and enemy max HP here. If you gear Marius with like what's it called? The skill that can, I think it's Soul Rip Blessing. You can just wipe out the boss once the boss reaches a certain HP threshold. Okay, this is critical damage. I can sell this. So this one took around about 24 turns. So let's put into X speed to see how fast he can go. As usual, the strategy is to go first before the enemies can take their turn. If they're able to take that turn, right, you just basically wipe out. That's the easiest strategy you can do for this boss here. The good thing about Donatello is he can remove all those ensnare debuff, which means you can benefit from the increased turn meter. So we are on turn count 15, 16, reset skill cooldown, more attacks, Marius clear up the enemy here. So this one roughly depends on the RNG. My fastest time is 33, and then the best turn is 21. So it's roughly around there. Okay, we got the Chronophage banner 5-star. So this one is for barbarians. So you can keep it. This one, in case you have issues dealing with Crixia or Fabian, you can gear this on like on Armand's instead, so that he wouldn't get the decreased skill cooldown. Increased skill cooldown on his skills. Okay, that's basically it on how to clear stage 27. Now for the finale, let's go over to stage 30. So stage 30, as you notice, right, stage 27 is my fastest timing here, like 33 seconds with 21 turns, whereas stage 30 it takes slightly longer because I need to use a different team setup. This one took almost close to 1 minute, but around about 32 turns. Whereas stage 25 is around about 20 turns, somewhat similar to stage 27 here. Okay, let's go to stage 30. For stage 30, I need to use a different strategy because the enemies here are really, really fast. So in this team composition, right, I have 2 speed boosters. I have Lyssandra, who can increase speed on all allies, fills the 10 meter by 30%, as well as decrease the 10 meter on the enemies. But this one does not affect the boss. So you still need to have double speed boosters in case if you are not able to build all your champions with high amount of speed. Then she has exhaustion. This one does not really apply to the boss, but it's useful for minions. And then she can transfer all the buff. And then we have Donnie here as the... I think Donnie will go first, followed by Lyssandra. Donnie is there to also remove all the buff placed by Hegemon, because Hegemon has the ability to block active skills or something, which prevents our heroes from using their skills in a sequence order. in a certain order. So we need to have Tony a cleanser to remove all those active skills. Then the good thing about Donny is he is able to fill up the 10 meter of all allies, which makes him a great candidate for this team. So Donny goes first, followed by Lyssandra for double speed boost. And then Lydia will be there to apply the decrease defense and weaken, followed by Seer to nuke them down. Since the boss have a unique passive skill that decreases the buff duration by 1 turn, right? You do not want to keep on buffing, because this will make the boss, right, reduces all the buff duration on all of allies here. And you can use Gnut instead of Marius because Seer is there to wipe out the minions. And then Gnut here, right? I selected Gnut instead of Marius because his enemy, his A3 Blast Splash, right, has the ability to decrease the defense up to 30% each time he uses his A3. And also he deals enemy max HP, which is like a bonus. Okay, so if you do not have Gnut, you can use Marius instead. If you don't have Marius, you can use Acrasia or any champions that can deal enemy max HP damage. Okay, so this is my team setup. And let's go. Let's put this on 1 time speed. So Hegemon, right, applies the block active skill, which is Cleanse Away by Donatello, followed by Lyssandra to boost up everyone's speed. Lydia apply the weaken and decrease defense. And then Seer, wait, Seer did not manage to... Wait, I think there's a speed tuning error, is it? I think I selected the wrong... Maybe I selected the wrong Gnut. Is this the fast Gnut? Slow Gnut. Wait, let me change. I think it's the different Gnut. This is 207. Or 30. Okay, let's try with the faster Gnut. Try again. Maybe I selected the wrong champion. Okay, Donatello cleanse away the block active skills, Lyssandra boost, Lydia apply weaken and decrease defense, and now Seer remove all those minions and with her A3, and then Gnut attacks with his A3. So that's the booster meter, but it doesn't have any effect because the snare debuff is still there. Yeah, I think I selected the wrong Gnut because his speed is really slow at 207 speed. You need to have, I think, a higher speed there. So once you clear up the boss, right, with Seer, then it's like a pretty smooth run. The boss cannot do much damage to your champions here. This one took around about 1 minute. Okay, the boss is on 1 HP percent left. So it's a slightly longer because I put on 2x speed in the beginning. Let's rerun it again, seeing it in 2x speed. So we managed to cleanse, boost up twice, apply the weaken and decrease defense, and then nuke them out with Seer. As you can see, Gnut also decreases his defense also. So each time he attacks with his A3, right, it reduces the enemy defense by 3% each hit. So that one was the second A3, that means it's around about 18 decrease defense. So the longer the battle goes, right, the more decrease defense the boss will receive. Alright. So this one takes around about roughly 1 minute. Okay, so let me show you how I build all of these champions. So you have a reference point on what gears to use, what relics and blessings. Alright, so let's hop over to the champion index here. Alright, so let me quickly walk you through on how I build each of these champions for the event dungeon. Let's start off with the champions that I've used for stage 25 of the Pontiff Augustin dungeon. Let's start off with Deacon Armstrong. So I'm gearing him with a mixed set, but it doesn't really matter because I just want to get these one piece bonuses like accuracy, attack, and some resistance. But more importantly is you want to build him with like perception set and speed set. For this one, I'm gearing him with a stun set because I'm using him in various areas in the game, such as like Cursed City, Faction Wars, normal difficulty, and Cursed City, Green Forest. Yeah, these 3 areas. So if you're using him in like arena, right, you want to gear him in a perception set as well as the speed set. Perception set is the one that provides additional accuracy and speed. Yep, this one. 40 accuracy and speed. And then for speed set, can provide him with additional speed here. This one, speed, 12% speed. Okay, but I'm using him in various areas in the game, so that's why I'm using him with a stun set, which places a stun without requiring any accuracy. Okay, so for the stats to prioritize on Deacon Armstrong would be speed and then accuracy, and then the rest you can build him like a damage dealer with 100% critical rate, high critical damage and attack. So let's quickly go through the gears. So I have this weapon here. As you can see, there's a double roll on speed and some accuracy here. Helmet with speed accuracy. This shield has triple roll on speed, some accuracy here. Critical rate glove, so that he can do critical damage on the enemies. Double roll on speed. Then this one, double roll on speed here. And accuracy. Then with speed boots. For the accessories, we have the attack ring, so you can do more damage. Critical damage amulet, and finally, accuracy banner. And by just gearing one piece of ferro, right, he gains another additional 40 accuracy, which is pretty good. That's like half of a banner. Okay, and then let's move on to the relics. So I don't have any relics equipped on him, but I think you can find a lot of Journal of Necrotos is a rare relic that you can equip on him. I don't have any additional ones here. So let's see. Yeah, this is the relic that is recommended for him. Marius heals and turn meter increase effects applied to allies are boosted by 15%. So if you can get like level 4, right, that means that it's around about 9 plus 15, that's around about 25% boost to the original increased turn meter. Okay, so that is the relic that I recommend for him. And then for his skills, is all maxed out. More importantly, you want to max out the A3 and A2 abilities. For his blessing, right, I selected cruelty because I want to decrease the enemy's defense, so that your damage nukers will be able to do more damage to the enemies, especially the boss minions. And for masteries, you want to pick masteries that can boost the accuracy stat like pinpoint accuracy, charge focus, and swarm smiter. Swarm smiter is useful with perception set and speed set. And then Master Hexer to increase the debuff duration of the decreased defense by like 1 turn. Since I'm using Deacon Armstrong mainly for PvE content, just select War Master so you can deal damage to the boss. Alright, so that's basically it for Deacon Armstrong. Let's check out the second champion, who is Umbral Enchantress. So not this Umbral Enchantress. Let me select the one in the vault. Yeah, this one. So this Umbral Enchantress, she's geared in a stone skin as well as a speed set. The reason I gear her in a stone skin is because I want to prevent her from being crowd controlled in the arena. This is my old build that I use for the early to mid game arena battles. The stats to prioritize on her will be similar to Deacon Armstrong. Focus on speed and accuracy. So this speed and accuracy is a bit lower than Deacon Armstrong because he was an old build. And then followed by high HP and defense stats. So she can, have some higher survivability in case the unkillable buff wears off. You still have some HP to allow her allies to heal up her with a full HP back. Okay, let's quickly go through the gears. So this is this is the weapon. I have some HP and speed. Helmet with HP and speed. Shield set with accuracy and HP and speed. I'm mainly focusing on these 4 stats: accuracy, speed, HP, and defense. So this one is defense glove with some HP, speed, and accuracy substats. Defense chest plate with some speed and HP, and speed boots. This is the HP ring, HP amulet, and then an accuracy banner. So I guess this one, after if I glyph her with those speed substats and accuracy, right, I'll be able to boost her accuracy base stats, her accuracy total stats, right, maybe to 450 or so. And also her speed maybe can raise to 250 to 260. But for now, I'm not really using her that much. That's why I just gear her with all my remaining pieces of gears. For the relic, maybe you can choose something that can reduce damage like Mass of Rage, where we receive 5% less damage from enemies under a provoke debuff. So this one would be useful for her. But I think you can upgrade this to maybe like level 2, level 3, and then keep it there. And then use this as a fodder for other better gears. Okay. And then for the skills, ensure this is max to get it to 100%. To apply the provoke and also block provoke debuff on the enemies. Then also max out her A2 ability Immolate. So it has a 100% chance to place block buff on the enemies. So they will not receive any special buff that increases their offensive or defensive capabilities. Okay, blessing, I think maybe you can choose something that can maybe cruelty for PvE content. Commanding presence to boost up the, what's it called? Since she doesn't have aura, right? But she can use commanding presence to boost up the Deacon Armstrong aura. Okay, and then she's not a damage dealer, so crushing run doesn't really matter here. All this doesn't really help her that much. I think mainly for the cruelty or something else like commanding presence. For her masteries, right, select Eagle Eye to boost up her accuracy stats, pinpoint accuracy, charge focus, and then you can give her retribution so she can counter attack to deal more damage to enemies. And cycle revenge to gain additional 10 meter whenever the allies get critical hit. Okay, that's basically it for Umbral Enchantress. Let's move on to the third champion for the stage 25, who is the Stag Knight. So this, I have lots of copies of Stag Knight here, waiting for the champion training event. Okay, for Stag Knight, I just built him like a damage nuker, so he has like a little set and speed set. Okay, so these are the total stats. Basically, I built him as a damage nuker with 100% critical rate, 257 critical damage, 4200 attack, and then some accuracy at 385 accuracy here. And speed. So make sure that he goes before your damage nuker, so that they can benefit from the decreased defense debuff placed by him. So let's quickly go through the gears. This is the weapon, helmet, shield, glove, attack percentage chest plate, speed boots, attack ring, critical damage amulet, and then accuracy banner. Okay, and then for the relic, you can choose any one that can boost up his survivability. Okay. For this one, I'm just using Gilded Dragonstone because I don't have any better relics at the moment. And then for the skills, make sure his A2 is maxed out. And then he has a Cruelty Blessing to further decrease the defense on the enemies. For Masteries, I'm also using War Master because I'm mainly using him for PvE content. Then select Pinpoint, Charge Focus for additional accuracy. Okay, I just selected all the left hand side of the offense so that he can do more damage to the bosses. Okay, that's for Stag Knight. Let's move on to the 1, 2, 3, 4th champion, Fahrakin the Fat. This is our ally joint attacker. So he is in a reflex set, so he can reduce the skill cooldown of his skills, and a perception set for additional accuracy, stats, and speed. So for him, you want to focus on speed, some accuracy to apply the HP burn and poison, and then also be him as a damage dealer as well. 100% critical rate, a high amount of critical damage, and then attack stats. Okay. Let's quickly go through the gear again. This is the weapon, helmet, shield, critical rate glove, HP chestplate. Since he doesn't really do much damage, right, and he's pretty squishy, I gave him with a HP percentage chestplate instead of attack percentage chestplate. And then speed boots, attack ring, critical damage amulet, and then an accuracy banner. No relics here. And then make sure that you max out his beat down A3 ability for the ally attack and critical damage, as well as the brand of shame. So both of them will be like 4 to 3 turn cooldown. Blessing, you can use cruelty as well to further decrease the enemy defense. But if you have a lot of champions with that, right, then you can mix with commanding presence in case your champions don't have any aura booster. Okay. If you have a 6-star, then maybe you can choose Crushing Run to do even more damage to the boss. For the Masteries, I just selected War Master, and then also Retribution to counter attack. So this one is mainly like my Demon Lord clan boss setup. Okay, that is Fahrakin the Fat. And last but not least, my damage nuker for stage 25 would be Skullcrown. So this my Skullcrown, right, is also geared in a stun set. Similar to Deacon Armstrong because I've used her mainly for crowd control. If you want her to do more damage, right, gear her in a savage set or lethal set. And if you want her to inflict weaken debuff, right, gear her in a perception set as well. So this is my setup to clear out one of the difficult Doom Tower secret rooms. Okay, so build her as a damage dealer, high attack, a decent amount of speed, critical rate, critical damage, and then some accuracy in case if you want to land those weaken. Okay, so this is, let me show you the gears. This is the weapon, helmet, shield, critical rate glove. If you have sufficient critical rate stats, right, then you can opt for critical damage glove instead. Then this is attack percentage chestplate, speed boots, attack ring, critical damage amulet, and then attack banner. If you want her to place weaken, I would suggest you to choose accuracy banner instead. There's no relic here. You can choose relics that can do additional damage like Cat's Gaze or something. For her abilities, they are all maxed out, and I'm using Crushing Run. Crushing Run is only beneficial at 5 to 6 star. 4 star is a bit less because it does not reduce the defense. It does not reduce, sorry, not reduce, ignore the defense that much. As you can see, right, as the 5-star rating is 25 levels for each ignore defense. And at 6-star is 10 levels per 1% ignore defense for every 10 levels. and it doesn't have the restriction of how many rounds you would ignore. 5-star is the first 2 hits. 6-star is there is unlimited hits. So don't choose Crushing Rend if you don't have like 5 to 6 stars. So. The Masteries, I'm selecting Helm Smasher to ignore enemy defense. This one should pair well with Savage and Lethal set or Merciless set. Okay, this is the Masteries. Since her HP is pretty low, she will often get to be like 50% HP, especially for PvE content. Okay, that's my build for Skullcrown. Alright, let's move on to the second team setup for stage 27. So for stage 27, we have Prince Kymar. Wait. I think let's go with the fastest champion first. Yeah. I think Kymar goes first because he has a high speed. So this is my setup for Prince Kymar, which I use him frequently for the Doom Tower speed clearing. So this is how I set him up. He has a pinpoint, perception set, and then supersonic. Here are his total stats. I basically focus on speed and then accuracy, and then give him 100% critical rate because his A1 requires critical rate to apply poison. That's why I need to build him with 100% critical rate. And then the rest you can just build him for survivability with more HP and defense stats. Okay. So let's quickly go through the gears. This is the weapon, helmet, shield, critical rate glove, accuracy chest plate, speed boots, HP ring, critical damage amulet, and then resistance banner. Because I do not have any accuracy banner, so I just picked this one for the additional speed here. But ideally, this one should be the accuracy banner. So once I got a better copy, this will raise my accuracy to 540 plus or 530 plus. For the relics, I just gear him with anything that can improve his survivability, like Gilded Dragonstone. And then for his skills, since I got him like last 2 years ago, I still haven't invested any books in him because I don't feel he needs any books. Usually for speed runs, right, Prince Kymar, you just need to use his A3 for that one round, and that's basically his role for that particular team. It does not need any additional damage for the A1, nor decrease cooldown for the Abyssal Gaze unless you're using him for like Arena to crowd control the enemy. Especially for Arena and Live Arena. But I think the meta has changed, so you will not use him that much in Live Arena. Okay. And I'm using Intimidating Presence on him to boost the aura by like 2.5%. And then for the Masteries, since I'm using him mainly for PvE content, I selected War Master. And then select Masteries that can boost his accuracy stats. Okay. And also Master Hexer to increase the poison debuff duration by 1 turn. Okay, that's basically it for Prince Kymar. As usual, high speed, high accuracy, and then 100% critical rate for poison. And then give him a lot of HP and defense for survivability. Okay, so for the next champion here on the list is Donatello. Wait, is Donatello faster than Kymar? It doesn't really matter. Because Prince Kymar is just using his A1 ability. So Hegemon block active skill doesn't really matter. So Donatello is the second fastest on the team. Okay, basically how I build Donatello is high speed, high resistance, and then HP and defense stats. That's basically it. So for the gears, I'm giving him a stone skin so that he will not get crowd control, especially if the boss have accuracy higher than his resistance. So the safe place is to use stone skin instead. And then basically I just use protection set for additional resistance and speed. So let's quickly go through the gears. This is the weapon. I think this is the the few pieces of artifacts, right, that I have quad roll speed. So I just like keep it there. And then we have a double roll on speed for the helmet. This is my shield, HP gauntlet, resistance chest plate, speed boots, attack ring because I don't have any more stone skin set. Ideally, this one you want to have HP or defense stats here. And then this is a defense amulet, and then resistance banner. Hopefully I can get a better 6-star Lizardman accessory, because it's quite difficult to get, because there's like, I think almost like 16 factions. 16 factions. So it's pretty difficult to get that piece that you need. Then I'm gearing Donatello with the Journal of Necrotos to boost up the 10 meter of his A3 ability. Okay. And then since I'm using Donatello in Arena, I'm also using Lightning Cage to prevent the enemy from stealing Donatello buff. Okay. Been stolen, to remove or transferred. All his skills are maxed out. Most importantly, you want to max out the A3 and then A2 ability. This one doesn't really matter, so you do not need to have this passive skill to be upgraded. And then for his masteries, just pick the one that boosts up his resistance with the unshakable defense mastery. Then provide him with things that can boost up his HP, so he can perform more healing with steadfast. And then lay on hands, healing savior, and so forth. Best of all, get him the lasting gift to increase the buff duration. That's about it for Donatello. And then let's move on to the next champion on the list is Lyssandra. So I have Lyssandra here. She's basically my speed booster. And I'm gearing her with a shield set because I'm using her in a Doom Tower speed clearance with a Seer to nuke down the enemies. So ideally you would want to gear her in speed and perception sets. So this one is a shield, accuracy, and pinpoint. So the stats to prioritize is speed and accuracy. And then followed by HP and defense to make her more survivable. And then for the relics, also use Journal of Necrotos. This one is like S tier rare relic. And then for her skills, max out her energized A3 ability, so that this skill will be lower cooldown. And also her exhaustion, 310. I think this one doesn't really matter for this particular event dungeon. Most importantly, you want to max out her A3 ability. Let's say if you're not able to take down the minions, right, then her A1 and A2 ability will be helpful in this case. Since I'm mainly using her in PvE content, right, I'm using her with Brimstone. But ideally, you want to use, what's it called? The intimidating presence to synergize with what's it called? Her speed aura. Then for masteries, I'm using Giant Slayer because I was testing her in an avenging set because her A1 ability has the ability to apply to transfer debuff. So Giant Slayer works really well if you gear her in an avenging set. So this one I was testing her with some other things. Ideally, you want to choose the War Master if you're not gearing her in an avenging set. Okay. I wouldn't want to reset the masteries now. To eat up my diamonds for energy refills. So ideally you want to choose War Master for PvE content, or you want to use her in Arena, go for Eagle Eye. Okay, Eagle Eye, and then Pinpoint, and then Charge Focus here. Okay, that's basically it for Lyssandra. And then 2 more champions to go. We have Marius and Gnut. Let's go with Marius first. Okay. My Marius is 6-star. I managed to get him 6-star yesterday by purchasing his 6-star soul from the soul shop. It cost me like 300 gold essence. which is pretty expensive. Okay, so for Marius, right, you want to build him with a decent amount of accuracy to remove the buff from the enemies, and also a decent amount of speed to go before your damage nukers. So this I'm building him somewhat like a debuffer and damage nuker. So since he's a damage dealer, 100% critical rate, 300% critical damage, and then close to 6000 defense stats here. I'm gearing him with a little set to ignore 25% of the enemy defense and provide him with additional critical rate, stone skin for arena, pinpoint for additional accuracy. Okay, let's quickly go through the gear. This is his weapon, helmet, a shield, critical damage gauntlet, defense chestplate, and then speed boots, defense ring. This one I do not have critical damage amulet. By right, I should have critical damage here, but I don't have one for stone skin. So let's wait for that to come to my account. And then we have a pinpoint banner, accuracy banner. So this is the banner that I was talking about that you can farm from the event dungeon, but that event dungeon has closed already. So you will need to wait for the new event dungeon that drops pinpoint set. Okay, that's for the gears. For the relics, since he can place what's called that debuff on his A1, right? And feeble. That's why I'm gearing him with an erratic coronet. Ideally, this one should be placed with Cat's Gaze, but I didn't manage to get that relic. So this relic is not ideal because it just provides attack and accuracy. You want to find the one that provides like critical damage, accuracy, and defense. That would be much better for Marius. And then for his skills, they are all maxed out. Galloping Thunder, max. That of Glory also maxed out. And then max out his A1 also to increase the chances to apply the enfeeble by 15%. So that's a total of 50% here. And since I got 6-star for Marius, right, I just use Crushing Ran. So the boss is at level 35. That means like you ignore 35% defense with 6-star, which is pretty useful here. For his masteries, use Hellmaster to boost up the ignore defense against the enemies. Then choose the things that can boost up his accuracy, like pinpoint, charge focus, and master hexer to increase the duration of the enfeeble. Then some masteries that can boost up his damage, especially for PvE content as well. Yep. So that's basically it for Marius. And then finally, we have Gnut, our champion that can also deal enemy max HP damage. So this is my slow Gnut for the, what's it called? Sand Devil. And this is the fast Gnut for Fire Knight. So I built 2 Gnut for this different purpose. Okay. For this Gnut, right, I'm using him in a Savage set that ignores 25% enemy defense. It's not as good as Savage because Savage, it's not as good as the Little set because Little set provides additional critical rate here. So the stats to prioritize for him will be similar to Marius because he is also a defense champion. So as you notice, he has some speed, some accuracy, and then 100% critical rate, 300% critical damage, and then high amount of defense, around about 5200. Let's quickly go through the gears. This is the weapon, helmet, shield, critical damage gauntlet, defense chestplate, speed boots, what's it called, defense ring, critical damage amulet, and then accuracy banner. So I'm mainly using this setup for PvE content. Fire Knight hard stage 10. And then for the relic, since he can decrease 10 meter, right, on the enemy with his A1 ability, I just gear him with this Tempus Sanguinis. Where 10 meter reduction effects are boosted by 15%. And then I also gear him with this gemstone. The various default skill will ignore 10% of the target's resistance, which pairs really well with the Dwarven Mighten A1 ability. So he can decrease turn meter, and also freeze. So this is the bonus. So as usual, max out his A3 ability. This is his meat and butter skill. And then his passive skill is the one that allows him to counter attack if you pair him with, if you activate his Fury of the King. Okay, I'm using him with a Soul Rip for bosses to clear up bosses faster. I think if not, I think Marius can also use this one. Yeah. I think it will be also quite good. Apply true fear on the enemies if the target survive, especially for minions. I think either one would be good. Soul Rip or Crushing Run. Crushing Run is mainly for bosses, where the bosses will not like die. If the bosses already reaches like 1% HP, right, then Soul Rip will not be beneficial. That's where Crushing Run comes in. But Soul Rip is mainly used for like minions, like the one that you see, or one-time clearance, the boss. This one is mainly used for like non-Chimera, non-Hydra, and non-Demon Lord clan boss. So only that Soul Rip will be beneficial there. Okay, for his masteries, I chose Giant Slayer because of his triple hit A1 ability. Then I just pick the one on the left hand side of the offense mastery, usually for PvE content. And then for the support mastery, just choose the one that can boost up his accuracy stats. Oh, finally, that is the second team that I've shown you the build. I've covered most of the champions here. Let me see, I've already covered Donatello, Lydia, Gnut, Lyssandra. Okay, I think the final champion for like stage 30, which I've not covered yet, is Seer. So let me show you that champion. Final champion, Seer. So Seer is one of the best champions that you can see her in multiple videos from content creators, because she has the most unique ability or skill with her Karma Burn. This Karma Burn, right, remove all buff from both enemies and allies, and uses those buff, right, to deal massive amount of damage to the enemy. And that damage is dealing enemy max HP, which is pretty useful against enemies who have a lot of HP, making her as an ideal candidate for many event dungeons. So this is how I built her. So I'm gearing her in the Savage set for 35% ignore defense, and then pinpoint for accuracy stats here. The stats that I prioritize on Seer would be 100% critical rate. This is a must. And then a ton of critical damage. And then accuracy and also speed. These are the 4 stats to prioritize, and then you can build her like a damage dealer, like some attack and some HP and defense to survive the boss attacks. If her speed is too low, right, then the enemies can cut in and maybe crowd control her, or the boss can remove those annoying debuff on the allies. So you want her to be pretty fast as well. If you cannot make her fast, what I suggest you is to bring in 2 champions that can boost up her turn meter, such as like Donatello, Lyssandra, or Arbiter, to make up for her low speed. Okay. Let's quickly go through the gear. So this is Seer's weapon, helmet, shield, critical damage gauntlet, accuracy banner, speed boots, attack ring, critical damage amulet, and then attack attack banner. Ideally, if you want to strip off the enemy buff, right, you want to have accuracy banner instead. So I'm using Malefic Talon that increases the damage by 10%. So if you upgrade the relic, that is like around about 35% chance to do 10% more damage to the enemies and the boss. Then make sure her Karma Burn is maxed out so that she can keep on rotating this skill faster. Then most importantly is Crushing Run. If you got her 5 to 6 stars, right, Crushing Run is the best. Ignore a lot of defense on the enemy. And then for skills, I'm using Flawless Execution rather than Helm Smasher because I want to make it more consistent in terms of the damage output. So Flawless Execution rather than Helm Smasher. Then the rest is you can like use like opportunities. Let's say if you can speed tune your champions, right, to crowd control the enemies, right, especially the minions with like provoke, not provoke, fear, sleep, those things, right, then you can boost up the damage by 12%. But the thing is, I couldn't bring in Kymar for stage 13 to apply the sleep and then nuke down the enemies. Okay, and then bring in those pinpoint accuracy, charge focus for more accuracy stats. So that's about it for all the champion builds. So if you have any questions regarding on the build, you can post them in the comment section and I'll answer them as soon as possible. Alright, if you found this video helpful, please share this with your friends or your clan members so that they can benefit from this guide and be able to clear the higher difficulty of the event dungeon to reap the benefits from this dungeon where they can farm this chronophage, which is mainly useful for arena against like champions like Fabian, Grixia, Yumiko, and Warlord. Alright, so thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you have a nice weekend. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.